Okay, can you guys just tell me where did we stop it? The paper will no longer be available for you. It was there till yesterday only. Ribosomes, we completed it. Kavipriya, how much did you get in biology? $277 out of 360. Very good. But aim for 300 plus, that is more ideal. Good. Monishwar has got 280. The ribosomes, we did not complete it fully. You guys were able to take the NEET test, whoever took it. You found biology easy. Listen, children, every week there will be a NEET pattern test which will be put up in your stg.learnity.com. Okay. So there is a schedule which is updated there regularly. Every Sunday it will be there. Okay. And what I need you to see is I want you to go ahead with that particular paper every week. We'll not be intimating it. You will have a schedule there. You just have to see that and then you have to take the test. It's a 3-hour test. Yeah, every Sunday you'll have the test. So please see that and then like see the schedule and then start preparing. And you please take it. It is based on whatever chapters we have done. Coming Sunday also there will be a test. So better take it. You go to your STG login, you should be able to find your thing. Okay. You guys please go check it out. Okay, so now we'll continue with ribosomes. You just a second, hang on. Like, let me just so we have studied about ribosome, some basic information. We saw that the prokaryotic ribosome has two subunits, one larger subunit, which is 50S, and then you have the smaller subunit, that is 30S, and together both the units can be isolated at 70S. This is what we saw. Okay. And one more thing that you need to understand here is there is no endoplasmic reticulum. So the ribosomes are associated with the plasma membrane. You will see that in eukaryotes, the endoplasmic reticulum will form the area where the ribosomes are attached. Okay, but in prokaryotes, you do not have endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is absent. So since it is absent, where will you find the ribosomes attached to? The cell is there. In the cell, you have the plasma membrane. Along with the plasma membrane, this ribosomes will be attached. Whenever there is a need, it will be like attached with the plasma membrane. They are associated with the plasma membrane. So that is the thing. Okay. And then you have one more thing that you need to understand. The ribosomes are called polyribosomes. In mRNA, in prokaryotes, because many ribosomes are attached with mRNA. Okay, I told you about the thing. So now you need to, so it is also called as polyribosomes. Polysomes. So you can be calling them as two different names. It is called as polyribosomes or polysomes. Okay. So please understand here one thing. So you need to know that we studied about this reverse transcription. Okay. While studying about this transcription translation, we studied that DNA will give rise to RNA and the RNA will give rise to proteins. We studied this. So you please understand this RNA which is formed is called as mRNA, messenger RNA, because it is intermediate. Okay, we call this RNA as mRNA. So this mRNA, what will happen is it will go and attach with this mRNA is the information which is there. So to this mRNA, what will happen? Ribosomes will go and attach. Usually in prokaryotes, you will see that for one mRNA, many ribosomes are attached like this. And then they will produce proteins from it. Whereas in case of eukaryotes, what you will see, one single mRNA will have only one single ribosome. Are you able to understand? Ribosomes will help in the protein synthesis. You guys please understand that ribosomes will be helpful in synthesis of proteins. What you will be able to see is, you will be able to see that one single mRNA is attached with many ribosomes. Where? In prokaryotes. So we call them as polysomes or polyribosomes. This is proteins, short form of proteins. Children, I'll just try to tell you something in a very story sort of way. So please listen to it. Okay. You imagine that you are a owner of a shop. Okay. A hotel. You have some 1,000 recipes, family recipes with you. Okay. You don't want to spoil this particular 1,000 recipes, so you want to have the control of this 1,000 recipes. Okay, you are a hotel shop owner. You are having some sacred. Yeah, I told the story already, right? So basically, this is like you are having this thing. So when this 1,000 recipes is there, you will not give them directly this particular recipe, but instead, what you will try to do is you will try to write a small sheet and then like you will pass it on. You will pass this sheet on to the chef. Okay. So basically, this recipe is nothing but your DNA information. This chit, whatever you're writing and passing on, is your RNA. And the chef is your ribosome. Okay. And the product that the chef is going to produce is the protein. This RNA is also called as messenger RNA because it is like kind of intermediate. Okay. Normally, what happens in a prokaryotic cell is this mRNA is like only one mRNA is produced, but too many chefs will work on one single particular item. So say for example, in prokaryotic cell, you will have like too many chefs working on one particular dish. But whereas in case of eukaryotic cell, only one chef will work on one dish. Are you guys able to understand? So what is the meaning of it? We call this particular condition of ribosome as polysomes or polyribosomes because many RNAs or many mRNAs will act on many ribosomes will act on one messenger RNA. Are you able to understand? So you are getting only one chit. This one chit is there. But how many chefs are seen here? 3 or 4 chefs are seen here. 3 are seen here. This is chef 1, this is chef 2, this is chef 3. Which means 3 ribosomes are associated with one mRNA. Okay. So we call this condition as what? Polysomes or polyribosomes. But on the contrary, if you are going to see this particular case of a prokaryotic cell, you will see only one ribosome associated with only one mRNA. So this is a singular case. This is in eukaryotes. Whereas this kind of condition, you will see it in prokaryotes. Okay, in prokaryotes, you will see polysomes or polyribosomes. What is the meaning of it? For making one particular translation, you will see that 2 or 3 ribosomes will be attached with one mRNA. Whereas in eukaryotes, for one mRNA, you can see only one ribosome. So with this thing, your ribosome is over. The next thing that you need to understand is inclusion bodies. They are structures that store substances in prokaryotic cell. People asking the question, please be sensible, and then like you please make me understand what the question is. Sometimes I'm finding it very difficult to read the questions. I don't understand what you're asking. Okay, so please type it in proper sentences so that I will be able to understand them. And please keep the questions only to the context that I'm talking right now so that I would be able to understand it. Okay, please don't bring in old topics. Please don't advance your things. What is inclusion body? That is what I'm teaching right now. I will be teaching. Just take down the notes. I will start explaining it. I haven't started inclusion body, so just reserve your questions till I complete it. Once I'm done with the question, once I'm done with the teaching, if you have not got the answer for your question, you may ask. Ribosomes will not contain DNA. Yeah, both in prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic, ribosomes are devoid of DNA. Okay, someone is asking me what happens to us if we have prokaryotic cells. Okay, it is a hypothetical question. So hypothetical questions will not have straight answers. Okay, so you please see here, you will study that what are these inclusion bodies in your prokaryotic cells. There are like small structures that you are seeing basically. So small structures that you will see, which will be helpful in storing substances. Those structures are what we call it as prokaryotic cells. There is storing substances. We call them as inclusion bodies. Okay. One important point about them is they are not covered by membrane. They're not membrane bound. Okay. So they are not membrane bound. They are not bound by any membrane system. That is one thing. They lie freely in the cytoplasm. Okay. Sometimes single layer of membrane may be present. So some things will be like kind of there. Someone is asking me what is the role of inclusion bodies. That is what is given in the first point itself. They store substances. There are food particles which are to be stored. There are some kind of lipid particles which are to be stored. There are glycogen granules that are to be stored. So that is one type of inclusion body. You are able to see that for some food granules, some inclusion bodies will store food substances. There are certain things which will have organic substances like gas vacuoles. Okay, so there are some organic inclusion bodies which are there, like gas vacuoles, and then there are certain things which will be called as inorganic inclusion body, which will store inorganic substances. Okay, so these are called as I mean, like you, for example, these are all examples. You have an inorganic inclusion body which is called as volutin granule, which will store phosphate. Okay, why are these terms bodies called as inclusion bodies? Because they are included inside the cell. Okay, the word inclusion means something which is included. So these are small bodies which are there inside the cell, in the cytoplasm. That is why we call them as inclusion bodies. Okay, so you need to know about something. There are some inclusion bodies not covered by membrane. Okay, what are they? You have some examples. Phosphate granules, glycogen granules, there is something called as a cyanophasian granules. All these things are inclusion bodies that will not have membrane. Then there is something called as inclusion bodies bound by a non-unit membrane. So you have something called as sulfur granules. You have something called as a carboxysomes. You have gas vacuoles. These are all example for inclusion bodies which are found in bacteria. When the body is storing, the inclusion body is storing phosphate, it is called as phosphate granule. Okay. When it is having some kind of glycogen stored in it, we call it as a glycogen granule. Okay. Whenever it is having some pigments, we call them as cyanophyasian granules. Okay. Mostly that cyanophyasian granules are pigments associated with the photosynthesis. Similarly, you have something called as sulfur granules. Sulfur will be present in certain things. So that is called as sulfur granules. So some kind of carbon dioxide structures are like reserved. So those are called as carboxysomes. And similarly, you have gases stored up. So those are all called as gas vacuoles. Okay. So whenever we call it as a unit membrane will be double layered. A proper double layered membrane is called as a unit membrane. Okay. So this unit membrane is there. So whenever it is not bound by such a unit membrane, we call it as a non-unit membrane. So please understand that only organelles in eukaryotes will have unit membranes. Okay. So there only you will see membrane bound organelles are seen. There in eukaryotes. In case of prokaryotes, you will not be able to see a proper membranous structure covering the organelles. So we call that as a non-unit membrane. So it will be having a slight, outline, which will resemble a membrane, but it is not a membrane. That kind of membrane is what we call it as a non-unit membrane, something which is incomplete. Are we guys able to understand? Okay. So some people are saying, sir, that is like there is some audio problem. Little confusing. Okay. So let me just repeat it. Listen, children. So you need to know about what is inclusion body. Inclusion body are inclusion bodies are bodies that are found inside a prokaryotic cell. A prokaryotic cell will have like many small structures which are called as inclusion bodies. These inclusion bodies will help in storing substances. What kind of substances will they store? Some of them are called as phosphate granules. What will this phosphate granule will store? It will store phosphate. Some of them are called as glycogen granules. So these glycogen granules will store glycogen. Similarly, there are some granules which are called as cyanophyasian granules, which will store some kind of pigments. Okay. There are certain kind of granules which are called as sulfur granules. The sulfur granules will store sulfur. There are certain things which are called as carboxysomes. This will contain an enzyme which is called as Rubisco, which is helpful for fixing carbon dioxide, converting carbon dioxide into glucose. So this is found only in autotrophs. Okay, so you please don't confuse with this Rubisco and all. You will study it in photosynthesis later. Okay, but please understand this is a kind of a body which will store some enzymes in autotrophs. So let us understand that carboxysome is some kind of inclusion body that will have some enzymes. Okay, and then there are certain things which are called as gas vacuoles, which will store gases. Okay, so please understand that the carboxysomes are structures are one type of inclusion body. Okay, you please don't complicate things. Let us keep it simple. Okay, so some people are like kind of like reading too much and then like you're like kind of confusing. Okay, the main thing that you should avoid as a student of 11th standard is reading from Wikipedia. Okay, because Wikipedia is written by people who are done with researches. Okay, generally for NEET and all, it is okay if you are studying very limited portion and then thoroughly and understanding properly. Okay, what you need to understand is while you're reading Wikipedia, you people are like kind of like reading too much more than the necessary, and then you get carried away. Okay, so please don't read it from Wikipedia. That's a very bad strategy to start with for exams like NEET. Rather stick on with some standard books and then like try to understand that thing properly. Okay, so now these are all inclusion bodies which are present in your body. Okay, so while you're studying about this inclusion body is of two types. Certain things are not covered with any membrane at all. What is the meaning of it? So which means in the body, you will just see that granules which are there together aggregated like this. Okay, so in some cases you will see like this, just the granules will be there. It will be aggregated together as a body. So you'll be able to see certain things, Cyanophacian thing and all will be like this. It is not covered with any membrane. So which means the granules will be aggregated together like a bundle and then you will be able to see them. That is what we call it as inclusion bodies not covered by any membrane. But there are certain inclusion bodies which are bound by a membrane-like structure. Okay, normally if you are talking about a proper membrane will be two layered like this. This is called as a unit membrane. Okay, it will have some double layered structures which will be like kind of like very complex, and it will be having a proper structure. This is what we call it as a unit membrane. But there are non-unit membranes which is just a single layer which is like kind of like covering. This is resembling a membrane. So there is something called as membrane. So which means the particles are not uncovered. They are covered by something. But what is the difference between these two things? Here the particles are covered by a proper membrane. This is a unit membrane and this is a non-unit membrane. You're able to understand the difference. Basically, if it is like kind of properly developed structure is covering it, then we call it as a unit membrane. Unit membrane is seen in higher organisms. In eukaryotes, you will see this unit membrane in all the organelles. But here, this is a prokaryotic structure which is having an undeveloped membrane structure. So that is what we call it as a non-unit membrane. Are we able to understand? Okay, so someone is asking me, sir, if there is no membrane, how the granules can be stored? That is what, they are just aggregated together. They are not stored. This is a place where you are seeing all the things aggregated. They are not scattered. Instead of getting scattered, they are all particularly kept at one particular place without any covering. It is like kind of you are storing your rice at your home without any covering. Okay. So say for example, I am just buying some coconuts. Okay, so you think about a place where coconuts are stored in your topulalam. Will they cover it and keep, or they will just keep it in open? They will try to do this particular thing. It will be kept scattered as such. So in the same way, it is like kind of kept that way at one place without any covering. A normal vacuole is different from an inclusion body in this way only. Normal vacuole will have a membrane covered, whereas inclusion body is not having membrane covered. That's all. Okay, now let us go on to see what is gas vacuoles. I think I need to complete this part. and we have to move on to eukaryotes. I cannot repeat it now. I have done enough repetition. So otherwise, like you please see the recording. So the recording for this class will be available. If you want to see any repetition part, you can just go ahead with the same thing. Okay, these gas vacuoles are organic inclusion bodies. Okay, it occurs in cyanobacteria, purple bacteria, and green photosynthetic bacteria. Okay, they are aggregates of small gas vesicles. They are not permeable to water. They offer buoyancy. They help them to position according to okay, so this is about gas vacuoles. We are studying about two things. We'll study about gas vacuoles and inorganic inclusion bodies alone. One example for organic inclusion body and one example for inorganic exclusion body we will study. Gas vacuoles are a good example for organic inclusion bodies. They will occur in cyanobacteria, purple bacteria, and green photosynthetic bacteria. Okay, what will they be made up of? They will be made up of small vesicles which contain gases. Okay, so it is like just an aggregate of all these things. Purple bacteria is a bacteria which is purple in color. Green photosynthetic bacteria is like green color bacteria which are photosynthetic. Okay, so they are all aggregates of small gas vesicles. These things will not allow water to enter inside. Water cannot go inside. So they are like kind of like, they will not allow water. So that is what is the meaning of permeable. So they are small aggregates of small gas vesicles. So say for example, this is a gas vesicle, this is a gas vesicle, this is a gas vesicle. All these things are aggregated together as a whole structure. This together we call it as what? We call it as a gas vacuum. Yeah, and then like they are not permeable to water. This will not allow water to enter into it. They will offer buoyancy, which means they will allow it to float. And they will help them to position accordingly to the sunlight. So all these things are seen in photosynthetic organisms. So whenever they are found in water, they have to come up and then like they have to show themselves to the sun. Only then they will be able to produce the food. Okay. So what is this thing they are trying to do is they are trying to position themselves according to the sunlight. Children, you are able to see the screen and all properly. Someone is saying that they are not able to see the screen. Okay, so people are able to see. So please, whoever is not able to see, please check your connections. Okay, so basically what is this trying to do is it is trying to position them according to the sunlight. So these are the things which are related to. Why is it organic? Because it might store carbon dioxide. Okay, it might store some kind of gases. Okay, so someone is asking me, sir, how is this green photosynthetic bacteria different from cyanobacteria? Okay, gas does not mean organic. Okay, listen, let me answer one by one. So I am able to ask you a question, how is this photosynthetic bacteria different from cyanobacteria? We already studied in that biological classification lesson that there are two types of bacteria, eubacteria. One is called as bacteria and the other one is called as cyanobacteria. What is the difference between that the two, eubacteria and cyanobacteria? Eubacteria will not, I mean cyanobacteria will have, and the other photosynthetic bacteria will have bacteriochlorophyll. Okay, so please understand, I have given you examples here. Only some of them will be covered by membrane and some of them are not covered by membrane. That is what we saw till now. Okay, so please note this thing down. Some of them are covered by membrane, some of them are not covered by membrane. I have given which one are all covered by membrane, which are all examples of non-covered by membrane. Please go through this thing. Okay, so the last part of this thing is inorganic inclusion bodies. Two major types are there. One is volutin granules, and the second one is sulfur granules. Volutin is they are storage units of phosphates, polyphosphates. Whereas sulfur granules contain sulfur they are present only in few bacteria. That uses H2S, hydrogen sulfide, as electron donor. In photosynthesis. Okay. You can write a note here. Some of these granules are metachromatic granules that contain dyes. Thambi, I haven't started explaining. I'm just writing the notes. Okay, I will explain. Just hang on for a while. Before I complete, you want me to teach everything. Why don't we have patience at all at the first place? Okay, children, please listen. You have one more type of inclusion body which is called as inorganic inclusion body. Why we call it as inorganic? Because these will be containing inorganic substances. Okay. Why they are containing inorganic substances? There are certain substances like sulfur which is stored. There are some substances like phosphates which are stored in bacteria. Okay. Such inorganic substances are kept inside this inorganic inclusion bodies. Two major type of inorganic inclusion bodies are seen. The first one is what we call it as volutin granules. Volutin granules will be storage units of phosphates. Okay, and I don't know what is the meaning of volutin. Okay, please don't ask me what is the meaning of volutin because I'm not aware of what does volutin mean. You can search in internet in case if you want to, but I don't think there is any purpose associated with it. The name of this particular thing is volutin. I am not sure about the word origin and all those things. I don't know about the origin of this word. If you understand and then if you find it out, please let me know. Okay, there are certain granules which are called as volutin granules. These volutin granules are storage units of phosphates. So in microorganisms, there is a small body which will store phosphates, polyphosphates, even nucleic acids. So these nucleic acids, all these things are stored, some extra nucleic acid reservoir. So which means what? When they will contain the raw materials required for building up of DNA. Some small nucleotides will be present here. So they are all inorganic material which are kept together. So all these things are like put together. They are stored as a substance which is called as volutin. That is one thing. And apart from that, you are also seeing one more type of inorganic inclusion body, which is called a sulfur body, sulfur inclusion body or sulfur granule. What is the sulfur granule will contain? Is it seen in all the organisms? No, they are not seen in all the organisms. This will contain sulfur, and they are kind of like stored only in few bacteria. Which kind of bacteria? Normally, water is used in photosynthesis. Okay, normally water is used as a material for photosynthesis, but there are certain bacteria that will use hydrogen sulfide as an electron donor in photosynthesis. Okay, so there are certain kind of like these bacteria which will be, instead of using water, they will be using hydrogen sulfide for photosynthesis. So those kind of substances, those kind of bacteria will have the sulfur granule. So it is not okay. Please don't ask me what is electron donor now. You will understand it when you are understanding photosynthesis. So as of now, you know that water is required for photosynthesis. But there are certain bacteria which will not use water. Instead, they will use hydrogen sulfide for photosynthesis. Those bacteria will have what? They will have sulfur granule. Are we guys able to understand? Okay. So they are found only in a few bacteria which will use hydrogen sulfide as a electron donor in photosynthesis. So there is one more thing that you need to understand. Some of these granules are metachromatic. What is the meaning of metachromatic? They will also contain dyes. Okay, some of these inclusion bodies are also called as dyes. Okay, so with this thing, we are completing the prokaryotes completely. Okay, so I don't want to start eukaryotes now. We just have 4 more minutes to complete this class. Okay, so let us just go ahead with the thing. So these are the structures which are present in your prokaryotes. Prokaryotes do not have membrane bound organelles. Let me just give you a quick summary of whatever we have seen so far in prokaryotes. Okay, so I will just do a quick summary of prokaryotes, and then like we will try to study about this thing. I'll just show you all the slides. So what is the thing? I have like 2 minutes to complete the thing. So first thing that we need to know is these prokaryotes are primitive nucleus. They have primitive nucleus. Okay, it is not covered by what? nuclear membrane. Then we studied about the coverings. We studied that the outer covering is called as glycocalyx. Then we studied about the middle covering, which is called as the cell wall. And then we studied about mesosomes integrated with plasma membrane. We studied that in the cell wall, there are two types of cell wall. What are the two types of cell wall? There is a gram positive and the gram negative. Okay. And then we studied about the nucleoid. Then we studied about other cell membrane bound structures such as pili, fimbriae, and flagella. Then we studied about ribosomes. And then finally we have studied about the inclusion bodies. All these things are seen only in prokaryotes. Prokaryotes are the unicellular organisms that are very primitive in nature. Cyanobacteria will come under anything which is coming under Monera will come under this particular system. Okay, so some of them are photosynthetic, some of them are not photosynthetic. Are we clear? So this is what we have studied. So now we'll just go through all the slides once again. So slide 1, whoever wants it, please take it. Slide 2. Slide 3. Slide 4. Slide 5. Slide 6. And slide 7. Okay, with this thing we have completed prokaryotic cell structure fully. Next class onwards, we'll start with eukaryotic cell structure and we'll try to study about. Okay, thank you very much. Someone wants 6th slide. You please check the schedule for the thing. I don't know what is the paper that they will give. I am not the paper person who's setting the paper. Okay, so that will help you to keep in track with whatever is there. Sir, class முடிஞ்சிருச்சு.